Okay, I've been watching the RNC, and it's very difficult to watch, actually. Um, with all these cheering Republicans preaching to the choir, and Paul Ryan's speech where he's accusing Obama of crony capitalism, which is kind of ironic, isn't it? It's like it's the old kettle calling the pot black or whatever that is. Isn't that terrible? So, yeah, there are some interesting things going on. Rachel Maddow had something really good with her blog. Um, I put something on a response on Facebook and got the conservatives kind of angry. I also have an article from the Catholic.org who they're falling in love with Ryan, his charisma and his belief in God and country, and he's just the good old boy, the bright American boy that is just going to save us all from the terrible mess we're in, you know. So that's how they're framing it. He's like the savior coming in, which is just dangerous, I think. Um, some thoughts on first on Ryan, and then I have some thoughts on some of the speeches I saw yesterday. Um, the Rachel Maddow has a neat blog here. It says at a basic level, what bothers me about politicians who lie, especially at a national level, is that the deceptions are insulting. A candidate who knows the truth but makes a deliberate decision to deceive is working from the assumption that Americans are suckers. And deep down, he knows it. He knows this is what he's doing. He is he's selling vacuum cleaners to the United States. And last night, Paul Ryan made painfully clear that he thinks we're all profound idiots who will believe an endless string of lies, as long as they're packaged well and presented with conviction. Um, that's all David Koch would care about, right? If they're packaged well. Package this guy well, I don't care, just so he pushes my agenda. Let's package the guy. Jonathan Cohn suggested last night's address may have been the most dishonest convention speech ever delivered. And I can't think of a close second. So it goes on to say, quote, "It was a truly breathtaking display of brazen dishonesty. Paul Ryan looked America in the eye, and without a hint of shame, he lied to our face. Ryan lied about President Obama's auto industry rescue, blaming the administration for a plant closing orchestrated by President Bush. Ryan lied about Medicare, falsely accusing Obama of undermining the system. Ryan lied about the debt downgrade, falsely blaming the president for a downgrade caused by Ryan and congressional Republicans. Ryan lied about the Simpson-Bowles Commission, falsely accusing Obama of walking away from debt reduction and ignoring the fact that Ryan himself fought to ensure the Simpson-Bowles Commission never even released a report. Ryan lied about his plans for the safety net, saying he plans to protect the weak when the budget intends to gut public investments that benefit the poor. Um, all these lemmings marching to the sea, clapping, you know, clapping for him. It's insane. Ryan lied about the debt, saying Obama has added more debt than any other president before him, when the truth is that was George W. Bush who added over $5 trillion to the debt, thanks in part to the congressional votes cast by Paul Ryan. Ryan lied about the Recovery Act, calling the stimulus a case of political patronage, corporate welfare, and cronyism at their worst, and reality shows the exact opposite. Ryan lied about small businesses, accusing Obama of raising their taxes when he actually cut their taxes. But that's the ultimate irony and double-faced garbage, is that Paul Ryan is talking about that Obama is guilty of corporate cronyism. And it's just like Paul Ryan, the man the media and the Republicans celebrate as a bold truth-teller, told one lie after another, demonstrating a near pathological disdain for honesty. His speech presented no substantive ideas, no policy solutions, no bold positions on any key issue, and it included enough falsehoods to choke a fact checker. To choke a fact checker. Just think of that. All because he assumes you're a fool, and journalists are too incompetent to separate the fact from fiction. Is he right? Well, Dan Amira called the speech appallingly disingenuous and shamelessly hypocritical, but added this gem: most of the millions of people who watch the speech on television tonight do not read fact checks or obsessively consume news 15 hours a day and will never know how much Ryan's case against Obama relied on lies and deception. Ryan, uh, Ryan's pants are on fire, they say, but all America saw was a barn burner. CNN's Wolf Blitzer said he counted 7 or 8 claims that fact checkers will have some opportunities to dispute, and that's a nice way to say it, right, Wolf? Always got to be careful in corporate media. Real careful. But concluded the lies don't matter because it was a powerful speech that gave Republicans what they were hoping for. CNN's Aaron Burnett added, there will be issues with some of the facts, but it motivated people. Staying real safe. CNN corporate media. Very, very safe. Gotta stay safe here. Let this sentence roll around in your brain for a moment and ponder what it means for our country. Ryan lied uncontrollably, but that's not terribly important. It undermines our democracy and the basic norms of the American political system. But no one seems to care anymore. Ryan thinks we're idiots. But his cynicism matters less than the electoral implications. The United States is better than Paul Ryan's dishonesty. It has to be. Our future has to be better than falling for this garbage. We're falling for it like lemmings to the sea. We're falling for it. Just incredibly dumb. I'm sorry, but I'm kind of going off here. This is my mad, right? Paul Ryan. Okay, now here's how the Catholic. Let's see. Let me see if I can find this Catholic pro-life stance here. Catholic.org says Ryan's opponents' efforts to demonize him and think they can deflect the American public from listening to his carefully considered positions on the vital issues and challenges we face as a nation will not only fail, I now believe they will backfire. Ryan's demeanor is warm and he's human and he's real. A refreshing change in the political atmosphere polluted with vitriol, vapid detraction, and denigration. So they're saying that he is like a breath of fresh air. He's this warm human being, but he's totally off. He's totally off base. He's this like naive Boy Scout walking in here going, "Hi, I'm a nice guy. I believe in naive garbage. Hey, I believe in this naive stuff, and you should too." He lifts up the listener while he speaks truth to a nation struggling through a desperate hour. He gives the listener hope that they, with good and effective leadership, can actually rebuild the American promise and re-secure the American dream for their children. In short, he dispenses hope in an hour when it's in short supply. So there's the Catholic.org. There's the flower. He's the flower child. He's this golden hope. He's the golden boy. He's this all-American guy that's going to save us all from ourselves. So, and he's a man of principle and judgment and all this stuff. So you have had enough of the Catholic view there. And let's see if there's one more here. Now, Mitt Romney, of course, has his biggest speech of his life coming tonight. And here's something from Newsday. I just picked a random article here. Republican Mitt Romney is stepping up for the most important speech of his life to an audience of millions after a rousing warm-up from a running mate who vowed the days of dodging painful budget choices will end if voters toss President Obama from office. They're going to toss him out of office. Just toss him. Toss him out of the bar. What was one of the Republican speakers was talking about, if somebody disagreed with me politically in a bar, I'd throw him out. Absolutely throw him out. I forget who that was. Having grasped the nomination on a second try after years spent cultivating the moment, Romney will use his speech tonight to introduce himself to a large portion of voters and claw for any advantage in the race. He's going to claw for any advantage. Sorry. There was no shortage of advice for Romney from armchair speechwriters on all sides. Jeb Bush, the brother and son of former president, said it was critical for the normally reserved GOP nominee to connect with people on an emotional level, even if he's going to be a new age kind of guy. Where it matters is connecting with other people's concerns, according to Bush. As part of his introduction, Romney appeared prepared to discuss his Mormon faith in more direct terms than usual, a direction signaled by his running mate Paul Ryan, and several allusions to the duo's differing religions but same moral creed. So, so, so he's going to save America with his moral. He's got this moral high ground that Paul Ryan's riding in on this chariot as well. The Wisconsin Congressman Deficit Hawk has become the party's darling since joining the ticket, offered a primetime testimony, setting up Romney's turn on the stage in the Republican National Convention's finale. The Obama campaign was quick to pick apart Ryan's address, releasing a new web video of its own fact check of what it said were inaccuracies in the congressman's criticisms of the president, branding the GOP ticket wrong for the middle class. In the warm-up for Romney's speech, the Democrats also released a second web video highlighting past criticisms of Romney on his record as Massachusetts governor and his budget priorities. After a two-day campaign through college towns, the president himself was staying out of the spotlight, ceding stage to Romney. But in an interview with Time magazine released Thursday, Obama said he was hopeful for a more productive second term if he was reelected. The American people will have to make a decision, and hopefully that will impact how Republicans think about the problems. My expectation is there will be some popping of the blister after this election because it will have been such a stark choice. The president added that he needs to do a better job of communicating his goals to the American people, both during the campaign and what he hopes will be a future inaugural address and more State of the Union speeches. If history is a guide, viewership of Romney's speech and Obama's address to the Democratic Convention will be surpassed only by the audience for the coming debates. So there we go. Ryan's only 42 years old, by the way, so he's not really an old guy. He's this young blood coming in. He's Camelot riding in on the horse. Romney spokesperson Kevin Madsen said days earlier the nominee would discuss his Mormon religion in the convention address as part of what's informed his values, taking the moral high road. Ryan's a Roman Catholic, took up the matter conspicuously. No matter is part of the convention's carefully crafted message. Mitt and I also go to different churches, he said, but in any church the best kind of preaching is done by example. I've been watching that example. That man who will accept your nomination is a prayerful and honorable person and faithful. Not only a defender of marriage, he offers an example of marriage at its best. Not only as a fine businessman, he's a fine man, worthy of leading this optimistic and good-hearted country. And again, our different faiths come together in the same moral creed. We believe that in every life there is goodness, for every person there is hope. Each one of us was made for a reason, bearing the image and likeness of the Lord of life. So here's Camelot riding in with strong Christianity. And oh my gosh, it's just a disaster waiting to happen. It's an absolute disaster. Obama asked in a Time interview what he admired about Romney, said the GOP nominee seems to walk the walk and not just be talking the talk when it comes to his participation in his church, and he left it at that. A couple of things that I jotted down and actually shared in a string. I couldn't resist on Facebook. I probably shouldn't have shared this, but I kind of randomly shared it in a string and not as an update or anything. Here are my thoughts on the RNC speeches. Wednesday morning, I had my cup of coffee and I looked at speeches from Chris Christie, Rick Santorum, and Wisconsin Governor Scott Walker. I find all of them full of predictable rhetoric for the most part. Phrases like, we can work together, let's take our country back, we believe in American exceptionalism. Christie started out bragging how he had balanced 3 budgets in a row, and by the way, he took on the unions and won. He also said he would speak the truth to the teachers union, the GOP for the teachers, and that Democrats were for the teachers union. That is a line that got thunderous applause, almost making the stage shake. It was a comment meant for purely divisive purposes, in my opinion. I did agree on his point about teacher tenure reform, but he used this as implying that that's what unions are about, keeping things in that should be changed. It was skillful speaking, but pernicious at its core. He also talked about respecting politicians who lead rather than pander. Who's pandering to the Koch brothers, Mr. Christie? Question mark. I just thought that I should ask that question, if it's allowable. Christie, by the way, is famous for bashing reporters who he's uncomfortable with. Christie drew the line in the sand again when he stated that our ideas are right and their ideals have failed. Their ideas have failed. Christie went on to say he would fundamentally change the size of government because American people have been coddled by big government for too long. He said that is what Dems do. Dems, they whistle a happy tune while they drive you off the fiscal cliff. He said we forge a compromise and stand for conservative principles. This is from the Party of No, by the way. In the middle of the speech, he shared with us some rhetoric that actually would be good for both sides. Power of the principles, strengths of our convictions. Christie said the people, not governments, create jobs. We should be thinking about the next generation instead of the next election. Standard rhetoric there. What about the environment, Mr. Christie? Are you really thinking about the next generation? I don't think so. So then Scott Walker ended his speech by saying that we need to vote for Romney Ryan to save America. And this is a big dramatic thing. Okay, Walker is saving Wisconsin, and then Romney needs to save America. I also listened to a speech by Rick Santorum. Santorum said our dream of freedom has become a nightmare of entitlement dependency. Santorum used the word God throughout the speech. I think we found out that using God throughout speeches gains favor. So that's why they use it. He said there's an assault on marriage and family today where strong mom and dads raise children. That's a clear dig at gay families. Santorum said that Obama was deliberately trying to undermine traditional families and weaken education. He called him weak on welfare reform, insinuated he was gaining too much power. Santorum mentioned that he shook the hand of the American dream and it had a strong grip. That's a nice line, but then he twisted it. You know, great line, but then of course he takes the advantage of twisting it into an extreme pro-life piece of garbage. Excuse my French there. He stated that we must lift up all of God's children, born and unborn. I mentioned his special needs that he spared, even though the evil doctor said, you need to get rid of this child. He added that Romney Ryan have what it takes to keep the American dream alive. The RNC crowd ate it up. They loved it. And frankly, I was not moved. So there you have it. I'm listening to Paul Ryan this morning. Probably will listen to the speech a couple of times, and then Romney, and I'll have some views on Romney and Ryan's speech. I'll put it all together in one YouTube. So anyway, we're all waiting for Romney's speech tonight to see what kind of golden nuggets he'll have for us. Probably I'm sure some interesting nuggets for Chris Matthews and Rachel Maddow to consume. So until next time, adios.